I have a great idea,
But I'll
never do it. It might happen. Sure, the monkey's might fly out of my butt. I don't think so.
I don't see it happening.
Hey, it's me, Jon.
And me, Louise.
And you are listening to I Have a Great Idea, but I'll Never Do It, the show where we talk about all of the amazing ideas that we have at 2 a.m. scribbling on a coaster at a bar, and we're all wasted. We're so wasted, man.
Oh my God.
And we're just like, this is such a good
like
idea.
us.
and then
Definitely.
we look at it the next day and we're just like, "Ugh, I'm never going to do that.
No. But I'm glad that I had the idea.
And tell me, Louise, what ideas have you been having?
Well, I've been having a couple.
Tell me.
So, you know what we should do? We should say like themes so that maybe we can segue.
Okay, what are your themes? I'll tell you
My
mine.
themes are app extension plugins,
Okay.
jewelry / Disney,
Okay.
and holiday / Halloween.
Louise, we have zero crossover.
Whoa!
So
okay.
I have dogs, which is a common theme that comes up on this for two of my ideas.
Ooh.
I have a kind of a health and wellness one. And then I also have, I guess, home design.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be a frenetic episode with lots of non sequiturs.
You start where you want to start.
All right, here we go. I'm going to start at an app extension plugin because we're at postseason baseball
Yeah.
moments of truth. And I recently took a trip to Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And while we were there, the New York Metropolitans were playing the Los Angeles Dodgers in a best of 7 sort of series. And the winner of that goes on to the World Series, and it unfortunately is not the New York Metropolitans.
Right.
However, we took our daughter to her first Mets game this year, Labor Day weekend. And here's the app extension plugin idea. You know how there are those like filters or sliders that you can do on your phone? I mean, maybe you don't, but there are sliders and things like if I dye my hair red, like this is what I will look
Right.
like, but this is
Before
what
and
I'm
after.
right. I want a filter / slider for day games to know where the sun is going to be. So that if you have like a 7 p.m. game, but it's in May, the sun is going to be in a different position than a 1 p.m. game in September. Because I have a little tot. She's not going to be great in the sunshine for too long. I mean, frankly, nobody's going to be great in the
Right.
sunshine for too long. But like a fratty dude who doesn't wear sunscreen as like a rebellion thing, or a toddler who just like can't regulate her own movement and gets too tired and overheated and the sun doesn't help. Okay, so you put the extension in like the MLB app or something, and you overlay it to the stadium that you're in, and you plug in the date and the time of the game so that you can see where the sun is going to be when you're selecting your tickets for the game.
Right. That
So
makes
that you
a lot
can
of
pick
sense.
a shady section, or it's only going to be sunny for the first 2 innings and then we'll be okay. Like stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it's a sun filter
That's
for
cool.
seating SeatGeeks. Yeah. Yeah.
So, it's been a while since I've purchased tickets to a sporting event. God, I sound 100 years old. A sporting event. It sounds like I'm going to polo or something.
I know.
And so when you are typically, because I know there's a lot of different ways to buy tickets to things, StubHub, SeatGeek,
Sure.
all of those things. Do they ever indicate if there are like obstructed views?
You know what? They do all the time in
Yeah.
theater venues.
Right.
Or Yeah, like concerts. Mostly I'm buying tickets to theaters.
Yeah.
And also theaters, side note, are probably 100 years old versus like
Right.
this brand new stadium that this city just got because whatever
Yeah.
sporting team just got purchased and moved there. They do, I believe, if it's, you know, like along the foul lines, at a ballpark, let's say.
Yeah.
I actually, full disclosure, have never been to a professional basketball game.
Really? Well, those are all indoors, so
They
the
are,
sun
but
is not an issue.
They are, but I don't know if I would call the sun an obstruction.
Well, it's
rather than like a like Megatron that's in the middle
Sure.
of the basketball court or
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the times that I've gone to basketball games, I don't know if the like Jumbotron has ever obstructed a view, even if I'm like up in the nosebleeds.
Yeah, I guess not. You're right.
Because it's up pretty high. But
I
what
guess
I'm
it's
thinking
obstructing like a concert, maybe.
I don't know if they have them. They might be able to lift them. I guess it depends on the arena that
Venue.
you're in. Anyway,
Yeah.
but for those like ticket selecting processes with the things like obstructed views, because I feel like I remember something when I was going to some game where there was a, you know, obstructed, like partially obstructed view because of some like column that's in there or something. And it seems logical to also indicate like in that area, you know, ideal for, games in August, if it's an outdoor venue, I think that football and baseball, soccer, those are, the big outdoor ones, that's where you're going to be facing this. But where it says obstructed views, it could maybe also say ideal for, this month to this month.
Right.
Kind of a situation.
Right. Well, we were watching one of the games, like one of the last games of the Mets Dodgers, and we were with friends from out of town who don't follow baseball, and that's great. I don't super follow baseball, just the Mets, and just my one team. And they were like, "Where is this game?" And I was like, "Well, it's daylight, so Los Angeles."
Right.
Because
right.
the teams were like New York and LA.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, "Oh, mm-hmm." But I say that because we were like looking, and it was like the entire section from, like the entire outfield sections just blasted in sunlight.
Right.
And it was like, wow, how are they even charging for these seats?
Yeah.
Because they're like baking.
I remember I went to a Dodgers game when this is one of my more recent sporting events that I've been to. Just wanted to say sporting events again.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember going to a Dodgers game.
And by recent, you mean in the last like 10 years?
No, it was not in the last 10 years. It was way longer than that. In the last 15 years, I think is more safe to say. But I was there, and I was very fortunate to have been in an incredible seat, like right behind home plate. And I had just gotten my first tattoos, and the sun was intense. And I remember a friend of mine, before I went to the game, being like, "You got to make sure to put so much sunscreen on those tattoos, because that's the worst thing for it. You just got those like 2 days ago," and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And they were right. I was right in the, the belly of the beast as far as the sun goes. And I don't know how those players, I mean, I guess they've got their caps on and everything, but to be able to see anything is tough.
Yeah. Yeah. And I bet that the time of year, again, because it's like April to October, that sun is changing. So the seats that are in the sun are changing as the season goes on. It's just, it would be really helpful to just have somebody out there, not me, but somebody out there to just make like an app or an extension.
Well, yeah.
For the MLB, like purchasing or whatever. It would even be like a perk so that you're not getting the tickets through like
Right.
StubHub or like
Or if you are StubHub and you're listening right now, implement this.
hey,
What a cool feature.
what a great feature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all of those have all the information about every single stadium anyway. It's like,
Right.
include a little bit more data, please. Come on.
I'm trying to go with like a super pale tiny tot.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to like set us all up for success. So if you want me to go to more than one game and take my money more than once in a season, make it better.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I have not taken my kid to a sporting event, and I'd love to, but I don't think that the sun so much is an issue. I mean, here in Portland, first of all, the sun is infrequently an issue at all. But the types of sports that we get here are, the Portland Trailblazers, and then there's the soccer teams. We've got the Thorns and the Timbers, the women's and men's soccer teams, and there's that stadium, Providence Park, is a beautiful stadium, and I'd love to take her there. I just don't know if her attention would keep for long enough. We'd probably have to go with some friends or something so that she could, goof around with them. But
Sure.
it'd be such a fun thing. And the Trailblazers games are always so fun too. But luckily, indoors.
Hey, hey.
Hey, hey. All right.
All right. What have you got for me?
Okay.
First up.
Would you like dog, health and wellness, or home design?
Dog.
Okay. Dog 1 or dog 2?
1.
Okay. All right. Louise, you're going to like this one.
Okay, I can't wait.
Imagine a housing development. So there's like a whole block and houses get built around that block. But here's the thing. They all have one large communal backyard that is a dog park.
I love it.
So it's fully fenced, and everybody has, access directly either from their home or from a fence into a much larger dog park. And your HOA will cover the cost of maintenance and things like that. There are dog poop bags and like stations out there, and trash bins and things, and water station, and all of that's included in your HOA fee. And you can still have like a back deck that is private, but you have your access point for your dog. And obviously you're going to want to make sure that you have a dog that is good with dog parks, because not all dogs
Sure.
are good with dog parks. But if you're at a dog park and some like weird dog comes up that you've never seen before, and you're just like, I'm not sure what the situation is going to be between my dog and this dog, it can get a little hairy. But if you know all of the dogs there, also, it's like a great opportunity if there's an emergency situation where you're just like, I'm stuck in traffic, there's a gigantic accident, I'm not going to be able to get back in time to take my dog out. You have your network of people that are able to just, open up that door and let that dog out. That's, a possible thing. It's not a guarantee, but
Sure.
just a thought.
I feel like, though, if you're living in a community where you guys are all sharing a backyard,
Yeah.
it's probably like a situation where somebody could, of course, go like unlatch your door and like,
Sure.
whistle for your dog to come out. This is not an uncommon thing. I mean, your idea is uncommon, but I mean, my mom moved here. She's been picking my daughter up from daycare on days that I have to work.
Cute.
And she has recently been going to the child, do you want to go to my house or your house? And my child will say, your house. Only I can't go directly from work to my mom's house to get my kid because my dog has been in the house for 8 hours.
Right.
And if the child is like mid-play or eating dinner, then I am like, wait, I'm not just going to retrieve her and the car's still running in the driveway. Like I have to
it's a thing.
see. And then it's like, now the dog's been in the house 9.5 hours. And now like, and it's just.
And that's when your mom has to understand that during the times that the kid goes to her place, you have to make an extra stop to let the dog out.
That's
and
right.
then go.
That's right. Which is why it would be really cool to like have the joined dog park backyard community where I could be like, hey, can somebody just let the dog out? I'm going to be another hour and a half.
Yeah. Do you have a fenced in yard?
Yes.
So another thing that might exist, and I've thought about this a lot, but I've never actually looked to see if it exists because I just don't have the budget for probably something like this. But a doggy door that is like, Wi-Fi enabled, so that you can say, all right, open up the doggy door, and like you train the dog where it's like it plays a chime and then they know I'm free to go.
It's open.
And then when it senses that they come back in, it locks.
Yeah.
So that they aren't just out there for too long unattended.
I love this new flash idea that you had. It won't work at my house because our backyard, we live in a split level, and our backyard is ground level, but the door is like inset one step. And
okay.
during climate extreme issues that are
Right.
all the more frequent, we can't put that there because that sometimes fills up a little bit with water, and it would just come in the doggy door.
Yeah, no, that's not good. I have
but that's a great idea. A Wi-Fi enabled.
I have a
door.
sliding glass door that goes out to my backyard, which is fully fenced. And I have one dog who, he's 3 years old, and he is the most impossible to train dog ever. He's so stubborn and weird. And he's the kind of dog where I can take him on a walk for 2 hours and he won't poop. But if I take the leash off in the yard, he'll go poop. And it's just like, come on, dude. Like, what is your deal? He pooped while on leash. Sorry, I'm saying poop so much. He pooped on leash for the first time like a week ago. And I was so proud of him, but it was after a long walk. It was harrowing. And so, so I have to basically have this doggy door. I have a doggy door insert for my sliding glass door that goes to my backyard. And he comes and goes as he pleases. And it's good for my senior dog, Daisy, who is great on walks as far as, doing her ones and twos, but is not very good on walks when it comes to like seeing other dogs. So it's like she's almost 16 years old.
Yeah,
Let
I was
her
gonna
just
say,
kind of hang out in the backyard. She's fine.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, when we lived in the city, we too would go on 1, 2, 3 hour long walks with the dog if the day was beautiful and we had nothing going on.
I've been there with you sometimes.
That's right. But now it's like, if it gets just a little too hot, he like stops on his walk and he looks up and he's like, "Can you just carry me now?" Like, I'm older now and I can't do it. Not too bad, but yeah. Well, I like it. Joined neighborhood, sort of like you're like private too. Like no strangers allowed.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a strangers allowed context in the terms of like one of your neighbors is there with a friend and their dog kind of a situation.
Yeah, but that's not like a visitor.
Yeah, not a like, who is this random dog?
Mm-hmm. A totally public.
Unless they're really cool.
Well, if they come in with sunglasses, they're allowed.
I know. Well, if they come in with sunglasses, you know that they're not using their app that tells you which dog parks have direct sunlight.
That's
the
right.
App for dogs.
Amazing.
All right. So did that spark anything for you? Did that make you think, ooh, this flows perfectly into my Disney jewelry idea?
It sure doesn't.
But we're talking about your kid quite a bit, and I know that you recently took her on her first trip to a Disney theme park. Is this what this is from?
A little bit.
Ooh.
Sure. Yeah, a little bit. Let's do that one.
Well, but before you start, also, it might have been on the last episode where you talked about the Disney gear rental program at Disney theme parks. Oh, that's right.
I did talk about that last time. You're right. And that would have been a good idea. That would have been a really good idea.
Yeah, I was thinking about that while you were at Disney.
Yeah, I stand by it. Disney, get on it. That's like a way for you to make money, to be environmentally conscious, and for other people to get to enjoy the thing and not have to chuck it out at the end of the day. My Disney, no, it wasn't. I mean, it's kind of a Disney idea. It's sparked by Disney. It's jewelry. Okay. So while at the parks, a lot of things have changed since I worked for the Mouse. And a lot of things have... I wouldn't say like evolved, but it's just people are getting really creative with ways to throw their money at Disney. And one of those examples is you can get, we'll call it I don't know how else to explain it other than like pirate bird or like ratatouille rat, magnetic stuffed animal that perches on your shoulder, and people will have like a Stitch, people will have a Minnie Mouse, or like I said, a Ratatouille rat. What's his name? Remy, and his brother Emil.
How am I recalling Disney character names?
I'll tell you why.
Is it because it's Pixar? It's Pixar.
It is, and I will say I love Ratatouille, but I was like, "What's his name?" And I was like, "Linguini." No, what's his name? Linguini. No,
I think it's because I'm such a big fan of like Patton Oswalt, and he's the voice of Remy, and so I think that my consciousness is more tuned to like the performers and the comedians who do these roles in these movies. Anyway, go on.
But also like my brain was fighting me, and I was like, don't say Linguini. And then my mouth kept talking, and I was like, it's Linguini. Don't say Linguini. Okay. Anyway, so people will just have these, and I'm like, how are you going on like a ride if you have to like... Yeah. Where are you putting, what are you doing? Why is that there? It's already a hot day, like whatever. Okay, but the idea, why do we not have shoulder jewelry? Like a little bit of bling, a little shimmy, a little sparkle. Like if we can have a lapel pin or a tie clip or like a nose ring or all over and a necklace, why not just like a little bit of shoulder jewelry? You get it in there with a magnet. It doesn't hurt your clothes. It's like, you know what? I'm feeling really fancy. I'm going to do fancy shoulders today.
Yeah. I mean,
that's the idea. Shoulder jewelry.
The concept of shoulder jewelry. I think that something similar does come up in like punk culture. With like leather jackets with studs and stuff.
Yes.
But that's the only thing I can really think of. And I'm sure there's like, you know, high fashion examples where there's some embellishments. But
or like
jewelry,
an epaulette. It's like you're military. In the military. Yeah. And you get another like little promotional star or whatever. But this is just for the lay-person. They're just feeling a little bit fancy.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. That's fun.
But inspired by the stuffed rats on the shoulders of Disney.
And I'd never
patrons.
seen anything like that. Had you seen that before you just went to Disneyland?
No, that's why I was like, I wonder where they got that. And then we walked in a store, and it's like you could get a little like R2-D2. And I was like,
I get Remy, and I get a like parrot for like Pirates of the Caribbean, but I don't get so much like Minnie Mouse. Why would she be on your shoulder? Or even
like a Jiminy Cricket I would get.
Jiminy Cricket, absolutely.
Then I didn't see a Jiminy Cricket, and I was like, must be like a limited edition.
See, I feel like Jiminy Cricket's such an obvious one.
Obvious!
That would make so much sense. Yeah.
I don't know.
Interesting. Huh.
I know.
So I'm kind of just confused about the mechanics of this like magnet situation. So you put the magnet on the inside. How is this not just like flopping around on somebody's t-shirt?
It is, but
it is. Okay.
It is, but it isn't. It's like, I don't know. Somehow it's like light enough.
There's like a gyroscope in the middle that keeps it balanced.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine? Here's this $500 stuffed rat for your shoulder.
People would buy it. And those prices sound like Disney prices to me.
Sure do. Oh, yeah, but you know what's wild too? If you rent them.
Yeah.
We saw a princess dress that I was like, do we get this for the lady? Because we had left Oh, we didn't leave it. I packed it in my backpack. That's right. We had a plan to, if she had a moment during the day, we would be like, do you want to wear this outfit? And it would be like a special one that we wouldn't have to buy. However, I saw this other one and I was like, let me just go see how much it is. She's been like a champ all day from like open till 9:30 at night. She would like no meltdowns. She was like wonderful. So I was like, how much is this? No price.
Oh, so that's like high fashion boutique. They don't have prices on
there was no price. And it was like one of those situations where I was like, I had such an amazing time during the day, like talking to humans. Every single person there is on their phones because everything is on the app now.
Sure.
Like Lightning Pass, which used to be Fast Pass. You order all of the food ahead of time on the app. Like you can't just go up to, let's say, the Tiki Bar in Frontierland or Adventureland or wherever that is on the cusp of and be like, I'd like a Dole Whip float. You have to order it ahead of time and it has to be through the app because they're like, great, you can come and pick this up at 3 p.m. And I'm like, no, I want it now. And they're like, well, we have like back orders to fill, so we can't. And I was like, huh? Because it's just like a weird concept for me. But what was I saying? Oh, everybody's in their phone. So when I would ask a cast member, like, where's the closest bathroom? They got excited too. Like, oh my gosh, somebody is talking to me, rather than like trying to find the closest bathroom on the app on their phone.
Yeah.
Like a human talked. I don't know why I started talking about this other than, I didn't want to ask the person working at the store like how much the dress was, because at that point then it was high fashion and I was like, if you have to ask,
you don't want to
buy it.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. Like the last time I went to Disneyland, which was probably around the same time that I went to that Dodgers game, 15 years ago or so, and I had a great time. But I wonder if it's just a matter, if it's like a combination of technology plus post-COVID era. And
we went with some SoCal locals and they had different passes than we had for resident reasons. And they said what we have gleaned is people at Disney needed to put systems in place to make it COVID friendly and still be able to be open. But some of those now need to be retired because they're just like not working as well. Sure. And it's like, it's always a flux as to like how this is most efficient, and certain things just don't work anymore.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It seems a little sad. I feel like it sounds like the place is kind of maybe losing a bit of the magic.
The people are super magical. Like, just the whole vibe of the place is like friendliest, happiest. And if you're stuck and trapped in your phone trying to like book the next ride that your family's going to be on, then you're like not super present with your family because you're trying to and I don't know. It was parts were weird.
I feel like the wandering and the discovery is the magic of it, not the needing to plan everything 2 hours in advance.
Right.
It's kind of just like there's somehow not a crazy line at whatever it may be.
Right. So, and we happen to have a very, very short like lady come with us. We'll call her my daughter. And all of those rides that are meant for those tiny, tiny kids don't have a fast lane. It's like one line. And normally in my past experience, which again was pre-COVID by about 7 or 8 years, you might have a 10 to 15 minute wait. Maybe if it's like right at the beginning of the day when everybody's coming in, there's maybe a 25-minute wait. But because everybody else is doing all the other things, I feel like at one point there was like a 45-minute wait for Dumbo, and I was like,
for Dumbo, really?
That's an all sizes ride.
Yeah.
So
gotcha.
I don't know. Anyway, we had a blast. It was super amazing. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't want to make it seem Debbie Downer. I just, I really wanted to order like a certain thing and was like, well, I'll just run up and get an extra French fry. And like, you can't really get in a line and do that. You have to. And I don't know if you've ever noticed, there are no outlets anywhere. So it didn't happen to us, but overheard at Disney, people were complaining about their batteries just getting juiced all day long. And it's like, well, if that's how you're going to order food for your family later, maybe don't use it as much because...
Well, you can buy this Disney phone power bank for $700.
Right.
Order it on the app.
And it's pre-charged. Yeah.
Well,
nice.
It's got to be pre-charged. I mean, come on.
There's no outlets.
Yeah, geez, once you're in there, they know how to get you. That place must just be like pumping out money all day long, just like...
Yeah. With that said, we had an amazing, amazing experience, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. Like, we had the best time.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, speaking of having a blast, let me tell you about an idea that I had for something that I'm calling fart yoga.
Okay.
You've heard of hot yoga. You've heard of, I'm sure there's all different types of yoga, but a yoga class that is where you are encouraged to fart.
Fart friendly. Yeah,
fart friendly yoga, where it's just like, hey, if you're here, you be farting. People be farting. I haven't done yoga in a group like studio thing in probably since I went to that Dodgers game.
Nice.
Disneyland.
Nice.
And I'm telling you, living in LA, that was that time where all of those things were happening. You go to Disneyland, you go to Dodgers games, and you go to yoga studios. And I mean, truth be told, I am not a farty person, but I think about yoga and it's just like, man, what a vulnerable place.
Yeah.
Where you're contorting your body in all sorts of ways. And if you're a beginner at it, your body's doing things it's not used to doing. Mm-hmm. And what if there was just a place where it was fully and I feel like there's a thing where I guess a mentality around yoga where it's like, we don't judge and you be yourself and let your body do what your body needs to do. But like, let's say this is a class for people who have like anosmia or long COVID and can't smell.
Okay.
Or for people who are experiencing sort of hearing loss, you don't have to hear it. You don't have to smell it.
Yeah. Well, or that, or just like piggyback it on another yoga, like goat yoga, where is it a goat smell or is it a toot?
Yeah.
We don't know.
I guess goat yoga is going to be the most fart-friendly environment for yoga. But yeah, no, I think that that's one of those times where like I can't sleep and I'm thinking about all the things that I should be doing with my life, and it's like
farting at yoga.
Well, no, it's more of just like I really should start doing yoga, and I haven't done it in a really long time. And I remember, when I did it, I enjoyed it, but it was like having to plan when I was going to go to a thing, and then like making sure I have all the gear. Mm-hmm. And also, having done this in Los Angeles, there's also the like, do I look cool enough to be in this room with these people? Now I live in Portland. I mean, come as you are in any situation, you can show up in jeans to yoga and everybody's probably just like, cool jeans.
Whatever.
And I don't know. And then I was just thinking just like, people must be really farty in there and you wouldn't even know it.
You would know it.
You would know it. But yeah, it's just.
I like it.
I don't know.
I like
That's
it.
all. I feel like my ideas have, Well, I guess my one other dog idea is a little bit more in the scatological category. So I feel like I should go back to you really quick because it's gonna get gross.
All right. Okay. So I'll do the holiday Halloween idea because
Yes.
it's upon us.
It's upon us.
It's upon us. Okay. I don't have a title for the business.
That's okay.
But it's a pumpkin prep business. And the motto or the tagline for the business is, we'll take the guts, you take the glory.
Ooh.
And so the whole premise of the business is, you're a mom and dad and you've got 3 kids and you're trying to create these core memories with them. And, you want to carve the pumpkins with them so that they can put the candles in them and so that they can see what they look like at night. And you're doing this thing. But I don't know, you still got to get food on the table and get the homework done and the laundry stuff and the soccer practice and all that. Mm-hmm. And so you need to at least do 3 because you want your kids to each have their own pumpkin. But it takes a lot of effort and time to cut into the top, scoop out all the guts to make it clean. Yeah. And if you're an overachiever like I am, I will ahead of time stencil out what I'm going to do with a push pin or a thumbtack. That's the premium service. So that if you want to do a Hello Kitty or Minnie Mouse pumpkin, you can prep that with the stencil and the thumbtack so that the insides are scooped out. It's all ready. It's pre-done. So now what you're doing is saying to the kids, we're going to carve these pumpkins with your carving set, and then you're taking the 20 minutes to do it to make this memory. There can also be add-ons, put 1 handful of glop back in the pumpkin so that they can feel the texture and be ew, but it's already cleaned. So you don't have a bunch of stringy stuff on the inside, or you've got an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old and they're kind of proficient at being sort of non-super messy, but you also have a 2.5-year-old and they're taking the guts and running all over the house and stuff's dripping and the dog's eating it. This service is really just to provide the busy parents in the world who are outnumbered by their children and pets the peace of mind knowing that they can keep up with the Joneses in terms of creating magical memories with their children without feeling there's going to be any kind of marital fight or because you can go to the pumpkin patch, you can pick out your own pumpkins with your kids, they go to school, we show up at your house, prep all the stuff, clean it out, put the top back on it.
So you're thinking that this is a we go to your house situation.
I mean, I don't know. It could be a one-stop at the farmer's market. Maybe you show up, you pick your pumpkin, you bring it to our stand, we'll clean it out, you take it home.
Because I was thinking of a at the pumpkin patch, there's you pick out your pumpkin, you da-da-da-da-da, and then afterward you go to a tent and there's a team of people who are just hacking away at these things and they've got all the tools and whatever. Yeah. But it's a house call service.
Yeah, I guess I thought it was maybe sort of a, or it's a local, we'll be at this farmer's market on this Sunday. We'll be at this farmer's market on this Sunday. We'll be at this
it's a knife sharpening
fall
station.
Festival. Yeah. And so we travel around, you bring us the pumpkin, we will do the thing, and then you can take it with you. Or if it is a mobile house call situation in the way that people get their dogs groomed, it's you tell us how many pumpkins
comes around.
Yeah, van comes around. You tell us how many pumpkins you've got. We'll show up, do the work, leave them, where you want, where you need us to do that, or, a dog grooming service kind of type thing. But we'll take the guts, you take the glory.
Yeah. I didn't do any kind of jack-o'-lantern-y thing this year, but last year I did, and I remember my kid really loving the scraping out of the guts.
Oh,
so
okay.
I feel you need there's that tier of just keep a little bit of goo in there, keep 10%. Just a little area still in there so that the kid can go in and get gross because kids love slime and whatever.
Or I think the first year we did it with Lark, she really liked it. And then last year I was like, can you help Mama with this? And she was like, So who knows how she'll be this year? But
Yeah.
I also feel like when you are in a situation where there's one parent and one kid, or two parents and one kid, or two parents and two kids, it's like a little bit more manageable than a family where the children and pets outnumber the adults.
Like mine.
So, well, yes, but also I feel like maybe your dogs are menaces in their own ways, but maybe not in like they're going to take the pumpkin and thrash it around because the top's off of it and like stuff's flying everywhere. Right. We visited some friends in California. That was like the whole point of the trip. Some might think it's Disney, but really it was to visit friends. And like, it was really interesting to like walk into the homes of the different people with the different number of children and be like, so there's 2 of you and there's 4 of them. How does life happen? Like,
I don't know. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
More power to you if you can manage that, but by God, the idea of it sends a chill down my spine.
Same. I'm like, I'm not even talking about like anything difficult. I'm just talking about like baths.
Totally. Yeah.
Breakfast. Like how does life like?
Yeah. I hear you.
But yeah, pumpkin prep business, PPB. Yeah, you know me.
I think that's a lot of fun. I know that. So one thing that I've been seeing that I do want to try is the method of pumpkin prep, where you, instead of cutting a hole in the top, you cut a hole in the bottom, because that's where everything is connected to. All of the like stringy, goopy stuff, I guess, is connected to like the bottom of the pumpkin. And so if you cut that hole and you take that out, it's an easy scrape rather than going up the sides, from the top. But I haven't tried it, but I've heard that that's one method of doing it.
Let me know how it goes.
I don't know if I'm going to do it, but we'll see.
Oh, okay.
I also know that people like to go in there with like the electric hand mixer and like whirl it up and collect all of the goop that way. That seems like fun, but also a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a drill attachment that yeah, I feel like yes in theory and yes for the most part, but I'm again such like a crazy perfectionist. Like I really get all of the stringy pieces out, because when I get in there, my masterpieces are so intricate that it's like I don't want to have a stringy thing. Some people like all the stringy stuff in there too, because it makes their jack-o'-lantern like spookier.
Sure,
but mine I prefer a cleaner thing.
I definitely try to get out as much of the gunk as possible. But my jack-o'-lantern preference is like old-fashioned triangle eye jack-o'-lantern with like the one tooth. And I don't know why. It's what I'm attracted to, Louise. It's just who I am, and you're going to have to deal with it. Ideal. I do. All right. Okay. So do you want my one other dog idea that is scatological in nature, but also has to do with cleanliness, or do you want home design?
Let's do dogs.
Okay. So how many times have you been walking your dog, or maybe you're out in the yard with the dog, you're minding your own, and then you step on something and it's nasty, and it seems near impossible to get it off of your shoe, and you know what I'm talking about.
Sure do.
We need a shoe bath for dog poop that just goes up to like 1 inch, and I don't know, like there's some sort of like solution that you put in there that kind of like dissolves the poop, and you kind of have one chamber that like collects that water, and then you put it in another chamber that like, maybe there's some sort of like vibration or something that gets the water agitated and goes through. Maybe there's a bristly, motion that happens that collects it all without spraying it all over the place. But I'm telling you, it's such a nightmare to deal with poop shoes, and
you need to wait for it to dry out and then get like a toothpick and like scrape out the bits.
What if you don't have the time?
Oh, no, you don't have the time. No, nobody has the time. I was going to say, as you were starting to explain it, I was like, yes, like those new like jewelry cleaners where you put like grandma's antique like ring that's super dirty from years of gardening into it. And it like does these like micro shakes in the solution. And then you pull out like the pristine, like jewelry store ready engagement ring.
And that's exactly what I was thinking of when I envisioned this. So you nailed it. And in my yard, I do have a pair of boots that are sitting outside that I change into when I go collect like any poop in the backyard. That I'm just like, these will likely get poop on the bottom. When they do, there's a hose nearby. But you never know what's going to happen when you're just out for a walk one day.
Right. Recently happened to my mom. She was, while we were in California, she was lovely enough to dog sit our dog for a couple days in there. And when we got back, she was like, what smells like dog poop? Oh no, God. It's my shoe. And she had been walking like the two dogs together, but in the neighborhood. Yeah. So it wasn't just like walking in your own backyard, like just walking around. And I think there aren't sidewalks where I live, and she like stepped over.
Oh, really?
Isn't that wild?
That's a bummer.
They're like intermittent. We've got some, but they just end and start willy-nilly. So weird. Yeah, she was on like sort of a busy-ish street, and she was like, I must have just like stepped closer to the property and less in the street because a car was coming by, and just things happen.
I worry, this is an aside, I worry that your mom is mad at me.
Why?
Okay. I have never received a text message from your mother until one day recently she sends me a listing for a piece of garbage house in Iowa that's for sale for like $20 and a pack of gum. And I'm just like, what is going on? Like I've never interacted with Louise's mom in this nature before. I didn't even know she had my number. I was very happy to have received a message from her.
It's like, new phone, who dis?
Yeah, I know.
And then, it's Mare.
Yeah, and then you informed me, and you and I were talking, because I believe I text messaged you, and I was just like, why is your mom sending me real estate in Iowa?
Yeah.
And then like weeks later, you texted me that the house that she had sent me went pending.
Oh, you missed the opportunity.
Well, yeah. So I texted her, and because you texted me, and I guess your mom had said to you like John missed his chance or something.
Yeah.
And I texted her, great news, my offer's been accepted on the house in Iowa. And her response to me made me wonder, does she know that I'm joking? Or does
what was the response?
I think that it was just a shut up kind of response, or
nice. Okay.
Yeah, it was something like very short, and like I couldn't tell because we don't have a text rapport.
Right. Yet.
We do have a text rapport, but I don't know what it is. And I just sent her kind of like a winky face emoji or something like that, and no response. And so I was just like, does she know I'm joking? Like,
yeah, she probably does. So similarly but differently, my daughter, when we went to California, this is going to be a long journey. Go on it with me, though.
Sure.
There's a point. She has 7 of the same $8 dress from Target because she went through a phase where she wouldn't wear anything but this one dress. Okay. And I was tired of doing laundry.
A capsule wardrobe.
Right. I was tired of doing laundry. And so finally I was like, we're going to get 2 of these so that one is clean between laundry cycles. Well, then it became, oh no, now they're both dirty. So we bought 3 more. Then it was like, oh no, we need this. And I was like, you know what? We're going on vacation. They're on clearance. They're for $5 at Target now. Let's get 2 more. So on vacation, we didn't bring her any other outfits but a Mets t-shirt and a pair of pants that she wore because the Mets had like won the game on the day that we flew in.
Wearing Mets paraphernalia to Los Angeles during that series is a little dicey.
They had beat the Phillies.
Oh, okay.
And
but they were about to be
playing the Dodgers.
Right.
And I will say a subclause, we were technically in like Anaheim and Fullerton.
Oh, so that's Angels territory.
Yes. So we felt safer. And then every other day she wore this one rainbow dress, and she could not have been happier. She looks the same in every single picture, but she's got 7 of these dresses. Okay. So Mare is texting me something, and Mare calls like all women Gina. And
She calls all women Gina?
Gina, yeah. Like if we're just chatting or whatever, she'll be like, "Oh God, Gina." And then all men are Junior. And so we like, she's like, "Oh, Gina's only like, did Gina bring any other clothes to LA?" And I'm like, "No, Gina only brought the rainbow dress." And whatever. Okay, so we get on this. Wait, why was I talking about this? Something about text report. Maybe it was just that I said to Lark, like, "Hey, Gina, are you ready for bed?"
Oh.
And she goes, "I'm not Gina." And like expressed to me that wasn't her thing. Wait, why was I talking about this? A text report. Probably just that like she got distracted by something and then like forgot to reply to your text. She clearly does not actually want you to move to Iowa for this $20 train wreck of a house. And like people listening to the pod, it's not a joke. $20 is not an exaggeration. It's probably like a foreclosed on house that the city is legit selling for like a 3-bedroom rundown house that you can buy.
What's strange
for
is that
$20.
it was on like Zillow or in like Redfin and everything. And on one of them, it said that its listing price was like $1,500. And then on another one, it was like, more like 15,000, which is still bananasly cheap.
Yes.
I bet one. It seemed just weird to begin with. I don't know.
I feel like one probably had pre-calculated the back taxes owed on the property.
Yeah, right.
And one was just the legit cost of the house.
Yeah.
If you were willing to buy it and then fix it up. She fully knows you're joking. She also is joking. And there's no way that my mom is mad at this.
I kind of want to like go to Iowa now and like go to the house
and take a picture.
Take a picture with keys and send it to her.
Oh my God, that would be hysterical. Otherwise, just text her out of the blue and be like, "Gina, don't be mad."
Gina. This Gina thing, this Gina and Junior thing is fascinating. Where did that come from?
I don't know. My cousin Maddie does the same thing. And I think that's
so funny.
There are 2 peas in a pod sometimes. And so.
Wow.
I know.
Okay, so I've got I do have one more idea that I really do want to talk about.
All right, give it to us. Give the people what they want.
And then we'll go into the challenges from last time and everything. Okay. But so another one of those moments where I was like, couldn't sleep, my mind was racing late at night kind of a things. I started thinking about saloon doors. And I was like, did saloons just have what is the purpose of these saloon doors at a saloon? In like the Old West or whatever, you can't lock a saloon door. You just slip under the bottom. Like they're not actually impacting anything. All that they do is create a cool visual when someone walks in who's new to town, and everyone turns around and looks. And so it got me to this whole thing about like, okay, were there other doors that at night were locked? And the answer is yes. Like. There were just much larger doors that you just don't see when you're watching, Old West movies and stuff that, they would use to kind of lock up at night. But what if there were saloon doors, and I'm talking like Old West saloon doors. I know there's like, full length saloon doors. Technically, it's like the style of door where it's like split in the middle and they kind of flap in either direction. But like Old West looking saloon doors that had retractable tops and bottoms that you could, lock to the kind of the door jamb.
I like it.
So that you have the look of the saloon door, but the function of an actual door. So a retractable top and bottom that lock into place.
Yeah. I do like it. You know what is like interesting too? Because I'm thinking, I got Disney on the brain now, that in Sleeping Beauty, when she's in that little cottage where they're trying to like save her, there's a door. It's like this, and the top opens, and they're like
Dutch door.
The little fairies are like cleaning the little like top. It's called a Dutch door.
Yeah.
Where like the top swings open. So I totally get why you would want the top to stay open, but the bottom to stay shut. But why would you ever want the top to be closed and the bottom to be open?
So first of all,
when
Louise,
you're sweeping?
Your visual for everybody watching on YouTube or Spotify was amazing, but blocked your microphone. So,
oh goodness.
So, but yeah, to keep the top closed and the bottom open, that's a good question. I had a Dutch door at one house I lived in, and it went out to a deck that was not particularly safe to stand on. So I would occasionally open up the top just to like, have air coming in and stuff like that. And hear
I
the
totally
birds
get why
chirping.
the top's open.
To cool a pie,
Yes. Absolutely, to cool a pie.
But yeah, I wonder if the Dutch
To have
door...
your horse friend clomp over and stick their head into the house.
Got any carrots?
Yeah.
Got any hay? But the bottom of the Dutch door, I wonder if that was a way to, perhaps in like, bad weather, to create a situation where stuff could get passed in, but it wouldn't let the elements in as much. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
anyway, back to saloon
worth
doors.
a Google.
It seems like a really European idea. The retractable saloon doors. Like, have you ever seen those? It could be on TikTok. I don't have TikTok, but like I would say Instagram. But it's like people, and it's like Europeans being surprised that Americans don't have this thing that they like always have. And one of them that I'm like, oh my God, why don't we all have this? Is like over a sink. They have a shelf and the plates go in vertically so that when they're wet, after you wash them, you just put them back wet and it drips down, but it drips down into the sink. And I'm
Louise,
like,
I've got one of those.
You've got one? Oh, why don't we all have them?
I'm so European.
You're so European.
I'm so European.
But like the retractable saloon door lockability functionality like seems like Europeans would be like, we have that.
Well, it also reminds me of like, and we do have these in the US, but they're more common in like Holland, I guess. Places where there's greater like bike culture in the Netherlands or whatever, where there's these like foldable bikes because everybody there bikes, and then you kind of fold them up and you take them into work and you just put it on your desk and you're good to go. So I feel like that level of engineering is what kind of makes sense for this type of retractable, expandable saloon door situation. It's kind of like Europe meets America, because the saloon door is so like Wild West America, and I'm talking about the wood slatted look. Yeah, exactly, where it's just like your sound effects are so much better than mine. Can you do a saloon door sound effect?
I don't know. I'm feeling on the spot now. It's like
That was perfect. I love it.
It's so good. Okay.
You know what? I'm sorry, but I can't pass up a perfect segue when I see one. And so your challenge to me, we were just talking about bicycles. I know I'm the one that brought it up. It's a weird thing when you bring something up and then you say, speaking of this thing that I just brought up, but your challenge to me was kids and bicycles.
Yeah.
So
sure was.
All right, so I'm gonna go into this, and then I'll kick it over to you for my challenge from last episode.
Okay.
So, well, first let me ask you: is your kid learning how to ride a bike right now? Is that what's going on?
She's on a balance bike.
Perfect.
There's no pedals.
Yeah.
But
Perfect. So my idea for kids and bicycles is so core to what you're talking about with the balance bikes. For anybody unfamiliar with the balance bike situation, it's kind of going off of the concept that like training wheels are a bad idea because it just teaches your kid that, they can wibble and wobble and it's fine. But what a balance bike does, it teaches them to actually understand the way that their body should function on a bicycle. And my kid had a balance bike, could not figure it out. Demanded training wheels. did the training wheels thing, and was like terrified to take them off. Now she can bike without her training wheels on, but she wobbles all over the place and her balance is garbage and she cannot bike in a straight line. And she doesn't understand the, like, you know, the pedaling and the, you know, where your hands are process. So, and like how to hold your arms really. She did like a spring break bike camp last year, and that's how she kind of got off the training wheels, but she needs more work. So in the same way that there are balance bikes, I feel like there needs to also be a complementary type of bike, or not even a bike, but a mechanism that teaches, you know, how to pedal, how to position your arms. Because she just doesn't get it. My kid just doesn't get it. So I feel like there needs to be some sort of mechanism that maybe it's like a simulation where you're actually, there's no like wheels or anything, but it's maybe there's a gyroscope, like those magnetic stuffies.
Hey.
So yeah, I think that's the only thing that I was thinking, because the balance bikes get kids used to balancing, but I know from my experience, not every kid has the patience for that. And so It's like, because even on a balance bike, you're still able to like fall down.
For sure.
You know, for kids who are terrified of falling, which is a lot of kids, I've seen kids who are fearless on those balance bikes and they just like whiz down the street and it's like no problem. But that's not everybody. And so, yeah, there needs to be something else.
I also just watching my neighbors across the street and the little kid down at the end of the cul-de-sac and my kid, and just learning just different stuff. And then hearing you talk about your child who's a little bit older than the kids I'm talking about. It's also a little bit a societal, cultural thing too. It's like, I feel like we as parents are like, our kids got to ride bicycles.
Yeah.
But when we were kids, it was like, go outside. And it's like, well, if I learned how to ride a bicycle, I could ride with the bigger kids. Or if I learned how to ride a bicycle, I could get to where I needed to go faster. But kids nowadays, like, aren't really going anywhere on bikes by themselves, or like seeing older kids riding bikes. So like the fire within them or under their butts to get them off the training wheels or to be able to like ride faster just like isn't there because they don't see it.
Yeah. I have a neighbor across the street, and one of their kids who's a year younger than mine is one of those like masters of the bicycle kids who just like is fearless and took to it so quickly. And to what you're saying, I you know, when I was a kid living in suburbia, what you did is at the beginning of the day, you hopped on your bicycle and you rode over to your friend's house and you knocked on the door and said, can Timmy come out and ride bikes? And then you like, you know, amass a little bicycle crew, and where you're just going to go over to like Pizza Hut or something and figure it out. But I don't think that exists as much anymore. And I live in a more urban area. I mean, I'm in a residential part of a city, and the city I live in happens to be a very big bicycle culture city. And so I feel like it's less of a learn how to ride a bike so that you can go meet up with your friends kind of a thing. And it's more of a learn how to ride a bike, and then by the time you're like a teenager and have a job, like that's your means of commute.
Yeah. I was going to say, I feel like for the children I see, it is like not about like independence now at all. And it's about like just like checking off a skill. Like everybody needs to learn how to swim. Check. Everybody needs to know how to ride a bicycle. Check. Like it's not like for, survival or independence. It's just like a skill. And because there's no correlation in the tiny tot brain, like, why do I need to do this? So there's not like as much of a need. Like I remember when I was learning to ride a bicycle, in my soul, I was like, I got to get these training wheels off so the other kids can respect me. Because if I've got training wheels, then I'm a little kid to them. And I was already short, so I was already the little kid, but I was like, I got to get these training wheels off and
You have something to prove. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I like it. Some sort of like, well, I was going to say also, like, you can know how to balance. Like, there's either you start on a balance bike and then you have to add the element of, and now you'll be pedaling. Or you have the pedals and you know that you have to like propel yourself forward and you have to use your body to do that. But now you're going to take away the training wheels. So in each situation, there is an element that is new that needs to now also be mastered. So I wonder if it's too just kind of like as simple as like there's a handlebar extension so that you can like attach on each side of a handlebar like a bit of a weird rigid but soft at the ends broomstick type thing so that if they start to wobble, it like hits the ground so they don't fully fall over before they can catch themselves. Like, I don't know what that would be, but it's worth a further exploration for somebody who's got the time and patience and will to do that.
Yeah, I feel like for my kid, she has the fear of somebody who, doesn't want to fail at riding a bike and so will, I don't know, put it off. And then when she realizes, oh, I want to ride my bike, has the hubris to think I'm the best bicyclist in the world. Amazing. And then when I say to her, bike in a straight line, see that line on the pavement? Just ride along that line for 10 seconds. And she can't do it. And then it's just like, you got to work on these things. And she's just like, I really just like, more circular riding. And it's just like, oh my God, you're so infuriating sometimes.
I just like circular riding.
Yeah. She's like, well, I like doing the curves. I just don't like doing that. It's like, oh my God, get over yourself.
Amazing.
And so I challenged you crossing guards.
You sure did.
Tell me about it.
So in other places, going back to Europeans and probably other places like Australia, I don't know, all over, not in America, they call them zebra crossings.
Ooh, yes.
So I want to change the attire to make it sort of like the fruit stripe scum zebra. And
or
each
just
of the
a
colors,
zebra.
Or just a zebra, but I wanted the color. And it's reflective so that the crossing guards like have to wear, but it's like not weird or crazy. It's like, oh yeah, the like rainbow stripe zebra crossing guard. I also subclause wanted it to be sort of like a public service rite of passage. So if you're, a middle schooler and you're about to go to high school, you have to do your, 3 school days in the fall service. And 3 school days in the winter and 3 school days in the spring of, your community service of like the responsibility of getting there and being there. And it's like the responsibility of making sure that people do it safely and sort of implementing like this like little bit of balance between like power and responsibility. I just think there are so few opportunities that we give air quote kids these days when the term, helicopter parent gets thrown around so frequently. And it's like, well, they have to be at a place and the reason is important. Yeah. And the shift is only about 2 hours and it
2 hours
might
feels
not
like
be
a long time too.
Does it? Maybe.
For crossing guard?
How long should the shift be?
Well, when I see crossing guards, it's just like right before and right after school. So,
all right. I guess I was thinking it would be like, okay, so an hour.
Yeah.
7:30 to 8:30. And you get like a I was late today excuse for crossing guard duty. Yeah. So I think it's kind of like a community building. Right. Type kind of community service thing in a ridiculous costume because who doesn't love a costume?
Who doesn't love the Halloween season is upon us. Who doesn't love a costume?
I love a theme for anything. We just threw a party where the whole point was to see friends that we haven't seen in a while. And I was like, let's make it about pickles.
Ooh.
So it became a pickle party. And we gave away emotional support pickles.
You gave away brine.
And Band-Aids, pickle Band-Aids. And so Lark had a Band-Aid on the other day that she was just like so tickled over. That pickle tickled her. And yeah, it's like, I love a costume. I love a theme. Let's make the crossing guard like a celebration of color and reflection, and put on a giant zebra head.
Zebra head.
Don't do that. Yeah. Yeah.
So my challenge for you for the next episode, and we'll see maybe if we can get it together in time to do this before this kind of time that I'm talking about, but we'll see. Alternatives to Thanksgiving traditions.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
I love this. Okay. And your challenge, which I want to just say to anybody who is watching on YouTube, I decided pre-podcast today, and if you'll notice, my name on my little screen is Boofus, which is sort of an inside joke for us, but boring for everyone else. But John's says exclamation point.
Okay.
Okay, your challenge for next time is alternative uses for bangs, because I think those are called bangs.
Okay. For bangs, punctuation. Okay. I remember when I first learned about the Interrobang, I was very excited, but we can talk about that on the next episode.
On the next one. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, well, so Boofus, man, that takes me back. Oh boy. Yeah, Louise, I really love doing this podcast with you. It makes sense that we don't do it like weekly or even every other week because we got to come up with these ideas and everything.
I know.
But man, I love talking to you. And just catching up a little bit. I mean, for our listeners, you know, Louise and I, we do communicate every day because we have a series of New York Times word games that we play and share our scores and everything and comment on them, as I'm sure most of you also do. But it's just such a special thing. But if all of you out there have other great ideas that you want to share with us that you'll never do, give us a call, 304-804-IDEA. That's 304-804-4332. Leave a voicemail. We'll play it on the show. I think you can also text it. So if you want to text that an idea, we can talk about it. Email us, greatideapod@gmail.com. Yeah, I just I love doing the show. Please rate, review, subscribe, etc.
Tell your friends.
Check us out on YouTube. Tell your friends. Blah 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 blah. And Louise, thanks for hanging out with me.
Thanks for hanging out with me.
I don't see it happening.